Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, October 3rd. The Steelers will have their second practice of Week 5 as they continue their preparations to face the Dallas Cowboys this coming Sunday over at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on the south side. I'll be there with some practice video a little bit later, and of course, right back here on the YouTube channel or in your podcast feed, talking with Zachary Smith around 6 p.m. for another episode of the Steelers Afternoon Drive. This morning, yesterday in my practice video, there was a clip of Najee Harris and the rest of the Steelers running backs because Cordarrelle Patterson and Jaylen Warren weren't there. So it was Aaron Shamplin and LaMichael P. Ryan and Jonathan Ward. And a lot of comments in that video about what's wrong with Najee Harris or why isn't he playing well? And like, is he actually not good? And like, I've been a pretty vocal critic of the decision to draft Najee Harris in the first place, basically ever since the day that it happened and straight on through till today. That was a bad draft pick. It's just running back in the first round is generally not good value, and the Steelers dramatically put the cart before the horse by taking Harris when they didn't have an offensive line that could block for him. He is clearly not the kind of running back that doesn't need an offensive line to have success. He is not Barry Sanders. He is a downhill runner. He needs a hole. He needs a seam at the first level so that he can get to the second level and use his size and power to punish smaller players. I enjoy watching Najee Harris play. I enjoy watching him dribble defenders like a basketball with his gigantic stiff arm. I think he's a dynamic athlete. I think he's a better pass receiver than he's probably gotten credit for here in Pittsburgh. It was just a wrong move at the wrong time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Najee Harris has been fine for the first 3 years of his career. He hasn't been great. He's been fine. He's had 1,000 yards every year. His yards per carry is fairly low, but he's generally done the job, and he's done the job, as he admitted to me the other day, largely with having no one to block for him, with very minimal running room. And so what's going on with Najee Harris that this season and of course, fans frequently slaves to the moment. What happened last week, right? When he had 19 yards and 16 carries and really, really struggled against the Indianapolis Colts. Well, I kind of talked about this a little bit. I hinted about it on another show, or maybe it was in the post game. I don't remember. And I did talk about it with Chris Carter in my appearance on Locked On Steelers this week, but I haven't talked about it here. I think Arthur Smith is using Najee Harris wrong. Najee Harris is a power runner, and he's not a very good zone runner. And the Steelers are Arthur Harris is a zone guy. Wide zone's his play, man. That's his thing. He's going to call a lot of zone runs. Najee Harris can do it, but that's not really what he's the best at. And I think it was really interesting in that game against the Colts that when they brought Patterson in, they were running some power stuff. They're running some gap stuff instead of zone for Patterson, but they're making Harris run all these zone runs. Now, he didn't have Jaylen Warren available to him. I know the zone runs are a big part of the playbook, but I think they've got to get Najee Harris into, right? Remember last year when they put the trap game in and that was working so well? Then they put in crack toss and that was working so well. And he just seems like a guy that, for whatever reason, runs better in a man blocking scheme as opposed to a zone blocking scheme. So I don't think they're using him right in that regard. I think that's one of the things that Matt Canada and then Mike Sullivan and Eddie Faulkner figured out over the year last year, and that's why Najee Harris got better as the year went on. The second thing is they didn't do against the Colts the thing that had been working for them all season, and that was running to the right. In the season opener against the Atlanta Falcons, Najee Harris had 20 carries for 70 yards. 6 for 31 were off-tackle runs to the right side. I can tell you, I don't know exactly how many, but a good portion of that is with Broderick Jones lined up next to Darnell Washington, right? Big on the right. 6 attempts, 31 yards, running right. Against the Denver Broncos in week 2, Najee Harris, 9 attempts, 36 yards, running right. The whole rest of the 17 for 69, not a huge game. So running off right tackle against the Broncos, Harris, 9 carries, 36 yards, 4 yards carry, spot on. The rest of the game, 8 carries for 33 yards. You can do that math. That's, he's just better to the right. All the volume is to the right. Okay. Against the Los Angeles Chargers, off right guard, he had 5 for 41. Another 3 for 13 off right tackle. 7 attempts for 1 yard off left tackle. For whatever reason, it does not seem like running left is where it's been for Najee Harris. Okay, so let's go to this Colts game. Runs to the right of center. They had 3 of them with Najee Harris in the entire game. Only 3 times did he run to the right. Instead, he ran to the left. He had 10 attempts for 19 yards running either off left tackle or between the center and the left tackle. 10 for 19 yards. 3 for 0 running right. But only 3 carries. It doesn't seem like Arthur Smith is doing with Najee Harris the things Najee Harris is best at. And so it's going to take some time for a new coordinator to figure out the foibles of their playmakers. That could be what they're seeing here. It could also just be that Najee Harris is not a particularly good fit for what Arthur Smith wants to do. That's a bigger problem. Because then I'm not sure it's going to get fixed. I don't know if we're going to see Jaylen Warren this week. I would expect that we will not see Cordarrelle Patterson this week. So it's like Arthur Smith's got to figure it out. He's got to figure out a way to get Najee Harris going. When you look at this Cowboys defense with the top 2 edge rushers both hurt, and the Steelers clearly now at this point, the strength of their offensive line is going to be a tackle, especially in the run game. Mason McCormick at right guard next to Broderick Jones at tackle next to Darnell Washington. Give me that wall of man down the field blocking. I think they can run the ball. They think they can run right. They can probably run left with Isaac Seumalo, but it just seems like for whatever reason, right is working better. I think they got to lean into it. I think Arthur Smith has to find a way to get Najee Harris going. This is not a player that doesn't have talent. It's not a player that doesn't have ability. Picking him was a bad idea, but he's not a bad player. And I think they've got to find a way to get him going for this one. That's all I've got for today. More back here with Smitty on the YouTube channel at 6 p.m. And then back tomorrow. I'll give my prediction here in the morning along with one big matchup breakdown of the Steelers versus the Cowboys. Plus, we've got all sorts of Devontae Adams news coming and speculation. And please read my article from yesterday about the salary cap if you don't understand how it works, which it seems like about 3/4 of the known universe does not. Go check that out as well. So please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications here. Oh, also go to SteelersNow.com, read the word so I can get paid. Check out the Southside Scoop, which went out on last night, and I'm now going to update throughout the week. So it's going to get published multiple times. Go check it out. You need a subscription for that. Use promo code Allen10 to get 10% off an annual subscription. Works out to $4 a month. It's basically nothing. It really helps out us and all really local journalism that you support. Pay for it. It's worth it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, enjoy.